Now, the Church of England has told parishes to draw up race action plans, whatever those are, after one bishop who supports the Black Lives Matter movement, of course she does, urged it to embrace being woke. Joining me now to discuss this and another big story in the news as well is former NHS nurse and commentator at the New Culture Forum, that's Amy Gallagher. Good morning to you, afternoon, sorry. Great to have you in the studio. I mean, this is just, frankly, it's what we come to expect from the Church of England, isn't it? The General Synod, which is the Church's legislative body, passed a motion yesterday which said it should encourage parishes and deaneries to develop local action plans to address issues of racial injustice and to draw up race action plans. This after the Right Rev Rose Hudson-Wilkin, the Bishop of Dover, who is a pro-Black Lives Matter bishop, urged it to embrace being woke. Weak is a better word, wouldn't it? Embrace being woke. Would we expect anything else from the Church of England these days?
No, this is very much in keeping with the way that the Church of England is going. We know, for example, that Justin Welby has recently said that the Rwanda plan goes against the nature of God. He seems to be acting much more like a Labour MP than the Church of England minister. And we've seen that this is happening. Critical race theory and woke is totally taking over the Church of England.
Again, it starts on the premise that everyone's racist, the country's racist, the church is racist, every institution is racist. If you're white, you're a perpetrator of I don't know, the slavery and the empire and racial division. And if you're black or Asian or any other ethnicity, then other than white, you must be a victim. That's the premise of this.
Well, this is the idea. I mean, woke functions like a religion. So the idea that you'd bring woke into the Christian faith is going to take over, and it's going to, I mean, for example, like you say, that there's the idea of the original sin of being white and being male. Woke believes in miracles, like a man could become a woman and a woman could become a man. So the idea that they would embrace woke ideology, to me, is saying we're actually no longer Christian anymore. We actually have a whole new different outlook and ethos. And the idea of having, you know, a race, what seems to me be positive discrimination or affirmative action flies in the face of the beliefs of the Christian Church, which is that everybody's equal and you shouldn't judge people on the colour of their skin.
And indeed, I mean, the Church of England and the Christian Church largely, it goes across many different countries and continents. Again, there's like, you know, this particular Right Reverend Rose Hudson-Wilkin, she herself is black, and she has been calling on there to be, you know, more bishops, cathedral deans and other senior church people who are from ethnic minorities. Is she also calling for the black churches in African nations to have more white bishops?
Well,
I mean, I'm assuming not.
Well, this is it. It only ever goes one way. For example, we have 4 million Muslims in this country, and the majority of Muslims are Asian. The majority of leaders within Islam are Asian. Now, there's no cause for race equality or racial representation within that particular region in this country or elsewhere. As you say, it doesn't...
If someone's not being appointed as a bishop because they are black, then yeah, that is racism.
Yes, of
course.
By
the way, no one seems to have an issue if it's women who don't get these jobs.
Exactly.
Which is basically entrenched in the church. I mean, I know the Church of England has moved on far more than the Catholic Church, but not that far.
No, exactly. And also, like you say, disparities in race doesn't necessarily mean that racism has happened.
Yeah.
There doesn't seem to be any instances or evidence of somebody being turned away because they're black, but it just happens to be that there are more white people in the Christian Church.
But, more white people in the Church of England in a country which is 90% white.
Of course. And
I mean, shocker.
Yes, exactly. And the one incident where a black priest was turned away was in the case of Calvin Robinson, who is a right-wing Christian who was turned away because he doesn't accept woke ideology.
It was about his beliefs rather than anything else.
Yes.
Charlie Rowley, look, I'm an atheist. I don't really understand any of this. When we talk about any religions at all, I was raised by atheist parents. To be an atheist, I'm raising my child atheist. I defend anyone's right to believe whatever they want, to worship how they want, to be free to give expressions of their religion. I've been on the March for Solidarity for Jews. I've happily gone on March for Solidarity for Muslims as well. I want people to be up. It's a key part of our democracy. However, when politics gets too I would say, affected by religious views, I get worried, sectarian views and things. But I also get worried when the church is sort of become something different from what it was.
And I do wonder how parishioners feel about this? Because you always have church
Anyone ask them?
leaders. You all quite, and you know, and I know it's a different story, but we were talking about, you know, the lead parisher who sort of gave a basically. The statement for that chap that shouldn't have been allowed in the country anyway, that sort of, you know, was had his visa application into the country, you know, rejected twice, all of a sudden became a Christian convert and got led into, you know, even though he had a criminal record for sexual offences against women. So should never have been in the country anyway. But it was a church a leader that got involved in that case. Why do they feel the need to get involved in that case? I don't think parishioners wanted that or respected that. And similarly, as you were saying, Amy, I don't think parishioners actually want churches and church leaders meddling in politics.
No, indeed. Do you agree on that, Amy?
Well, yeah, I mean, we know that church attendance is going down, and many people...
It's absolutely plummeting.
Yes, it's plummeting.
Evangelical churches are doing better.
Yes, and we get the sense that they're trying to invoke woke in order to draw people in, but it's having the complete opposite effect. Actually, it's the more orthodox churches that reject woke where the congregation is rising.
Yeah, and by definition, again, if the Christian ethos, on which this country is based by the Judeo-Christian teachings, the ethos is, you know, you have an individual relationship with God, and that you are every man and woman is created equal. I mean, these are really basic tenets of the Christian religion. Then anything that divides people along, you know, all of the diversity politics is all about division. You're different because you're a man, or you're different because you're gay, or you're different because you're black, or you're Asian, or you're white. That or you're anything else. That goes against every aspect of the Christian teaching, as I understand it as an atheist.
Yes, of course, because being an authority in the Christian church, it's not just a normal job. You are embodying values and, as you say, an ethos. And woke ideology not only you know, goes against some of the Christian values, it's actually anti-Christian in some ways. Yep. For example, Black Lives Matter, that this priest seems to advocate for, actually is a very Marxist organisation. It's against the nuclear family. It's against organised religion. So how could you have that within the Christian church?
How can you be in favour of both?